More than 10 years ago, my husband and I built a Strawbale house on our acreage in eastern Oregon. In this video, I'll share 5 things I love about it, 3 things I found especially challenging in the process of building and finishing it, and a few thoughts on whether I would want to build with Strawbale again. First, a quick overview of the process. We began pondering our options for building around 2010. We knew we wanted to use natural materials suitable for our cold winters and fire-prone summers. After consulting with many eco-design folks, we decided on straw bales. The next big decision was whether to go with load-bearing or non-load-bearing. Load-bearing simply means that there's no framing to hold up the walls or roof. The straw bales themselves bear the load. We decided to go with non-load-bearing, where straw bales fill in around posts and beams. We understood that it would be easier to get permitted, and it was, and a bit harder for us, as inexperienced builders, to mess up. The building process began in 2012. Unfortunately, I didn't take a lot of video back then, so much of this will be a slideshow. We hired local contractors to erect the structure, a 1,600 square foot, 1-story house with a full basement. We used a mineralized wood chip block called Fastwall for the basement. Since it stacks like masonry blocks, the contractors knew how to work with it and finished the basement walls very quickly. The contractors worked throughout the summer. By fall, we were able to start stacking straw bales. Thanks to the help of family and friends, we made the house weatherproof by winter. But it wasn't livable yet, so we returned to our big city home. The next spring, we sold that home, packed up all our belongings, and moved to our property full-time to continue working on the house. By fall, the house was livable, though far from done. We've been working on finishing it ever since. So here are the main things I love about our Strawbale house so far. Number 1 is heating and cooling. Straw bales encased in plaster regulate temperatures really well, so we stay very warm in winter and cool in summer. In both seasons, fans help circulate air and keep the temperature comfortable. I share more about how we heat our house in this video. The second reason I love our Strawbale home is the aesthetics. The organic feel of the thick walls, round corners, and the deep window wells and benches are what drew me to Strawbale structures in the first place. And I'm still in love with that. The third reason is sustainability. I do have questions about all the compromises made in constructing any new building, even ones considered green. So I don't want to make any grand claims here. But it does feel good to have used material that might otherwise be waste. Straw bales might be difficult to source in some areas, but plenty of wheat and barley are grown in our region. So I like that we used a minimally processed, regionally appropriate material that didn't involve a lot of embodied transportation energy. The fourth reason is fire safety. We live in an area naturally prone to wildfires. And straw bales are relatively fire resistant. This seemed counterintuitive to me at first, since loose straw is highly flammable. But because bales are packed so tightly, they don't burn well. And the bales are enclosed in plasters. We chose lime cement on the outside for durability in our climate, and earthen plasters on the inside. With a metal roof and a clear perimeter, we're well prepared for wildfires. The fifth reason I love our Strawbale house is that it has inspired me to learn more about natural plasters and finishes. Of course, you don't need a Strawbale house for that. But I might have chosen an easier route if our beautiful Strawbale walls hadn't been crying out for natural finishes. For example, I use clay paint in most areas of the house, and I make it myself with easily available and affordable materials. I'll share a video on that in the future. Without the inspiration of building with a natural material like straw bales, I might not have learned how satisfying and empowering it is to make natural finishes. With all that I love, there are some things I found especially challenging through the building and finishing process. The hardest thing was the lack of local expertise and skills in Strawbale construction. Once our contractor was done doing what he knew how to do, putting up the frame, we were on our own with the straw bales. Strawbale houses can be very durable. For example, the Fouillette house in France was built with straw bales in 1920 and is still in great condition. But if not done well, strawbale structures can also fail in spectacular ways. We had books, some family and friends who had studied various forms of natural building, and a few experts we could consult from a distance. But we had to make numerous decisions every day and experiment with various solutions without being very confident in what we were doing. We learned a lot and did build confidence over time, but it was often frustrating and time-consuming, and it sometimes meant making and fixing a lot of mistakes. Or it meant putting into place numerous backup systems to make double, triple, or sometimes quadruple sure that things like drainage or structural integrity would not fail. I'm not sure we needed all those fail-safes, and they took more time, and sometimes money, than we anticipated. That all leads to the second thing I found challenging about the process: do-it-yourself fatigue. The need to figure out and do so many things on our own became incredibly stressful and time-consuming for us. Before we began, my husband and I knew that we would have to do much of the work ourselves, with family and friends helping out now and then. But over time, our enthusiasm and energy waned. Then we began facing some health crises or had to care for family members dealing with health crises. For several years, finish work on the house pretty much stopped. Of course, any building project, even the most conventional, can slow down when builders run low on money or energy or face various crises. But choosing a design that involves unconventional materials, like straw bale and earthen plasters, can drag out the work more. So I wish we had been more honest with ourselves about how much patience and stamina and ambition we had for finishing a house on our own, and better anticipated competing demands in our lives. The third challenge in the process is more minor, and actually has to do with one of the things I love about the house. Those beautiful curved walls I cherish have made it challenging to finish some seams where the straw bale walls meet straight walls or ceilings. For example, we have some gaps between walls and ceilings that could have been avoided if we'd planned better. We either need pliable moldings, many of which are vinyl, which I hate, or we need to fill in gaps with more earthen plaster, which will be pretty messy now that we've already painted most areas and filled rooms with furniture. We tried to sculpt this piece of molding to fit in our dining area, and it sort of works, but I'm not fond of how it looks. For now, we're simply living with these unfinished edges while working on higher priority projects. We'll figure it out eventually. So with these challenges and frustrations, would I do it again? If I were younger and had a lot of energy and deep enthusiasm for building a house with natural and sustainable materials, I'd definitely consider straw bale again, especially in an area like ours, where straw is easily available. I certainly have no regrets with what we've accomplished, now that most of the work is behind us. But I would also seriously consider building the entire house in something like the Faswall blocks we used in our basement. Faswall has good insulation, is fire resistant, uses waste material, goes up very quickly, and caters to expertise that most contractors already have. You can use various kinds of plasters and paints, including natural ones, on Faswall. If we'd used Faswall or some other insulated concrete form, we might have saved a lot of time and had more energy for doing the finish work that's bogged us down. We might also have saved money. Straw bales themselves are cheap, but the labor involved in using them can become as expensive as any other building method. If you've worked with straw bales or sustainable alternatives, I'd love to hear more about your experiences in the comments. I'll share more about specific aspects of our building process, such as clay paints, in future videos.